What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 373 of the Hoots podcast. It's your boy Joshie talking to you live from the Break Free Room here in lovely Chicago, Illinois. Just rocking and rolling, folks. We are on the road to 400 episodes. If it's your first time checking out the podcast at Hoots, make sure to do us a favor, like the video here on YouTube or on Facebook. Make sure to subscribe to the channel as we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. You can get all our information of other plugs where you can find us on social media, stuff like that. If you're watching, if you want to make a donation to the podcast or the website, prowrestlingtranscriptions.com, you can. That information is not only here on the bottom ticker here on the screen, but also in the description of this video. I am the nefarious brother Adam, aka Joshie Lopez, chilling, rocking and rolling. Life is good, man. We got a lot of stuff to discuss this week. We were coming off the heels of SummerSlam in Detroit, Michigan, so you'll get all my thoughts in just a couple of seconds. I'm kind of flipping the script on the format that we usually use here on the show this week, and we'll get into that SummerSlam thoughts in just a couple of seconds. But first and foremost, I just want to say thank you, each and every single one of you, for hanging out and supporting the show for what it is and giving us a chance for this last 7 years. I don't know how much longer this thing is going to go. I don't know how much longer this ride is going to be, but I'm still having fun with it, and our goal is to make sure that we do reach episode 400, and I am thankful for anybody who checks us out for 5 minutes, for 5 seconds, entire show, 5 episodes, whatever the situation is. I am very appreciative for you guys giving this show a chance because I feel like we provide something different in the space when it comes to the world of professional wrestling. And today it's going to have a little different vibe to it because I feel, again, I feel like there's too much discourse on stuff that doesn't matter, and it's taken away from the fun of creating wrestling content for me. And I had a couple of situations this week that just kind of reminded me of why at times I'm not having as much fun with this as I did when I first started 10 years ago. So we'll get into that as the show goes on. Of course, we'll have our main event segment, What the Hell's Wrong with AEW? If you're watching, if you have any thoughts on SummerSlam matches you liked or disliked, please let me know in the comment section down below. Also, do me a favor. If you're watching, you see the title of this week's episode. In your opinion, do you really feel that the Bloodline Angle faction has jumped the shark, as people are saying this week, or you're just saying that because you want to get likes and retweets on social media? I want to have an honest discussion with you guys this week. I'm really gonna try my best to have some discipline and self control here, and not try to blur out as much f bombs as I want to this week. I feel like it's just time to have a nuanced conversation without me popping a blood vessel like JD from New York. I don't need to do that to get myself over here when it comes to creating this type of content. This show here is about positivity and being a mental escape for a lot of people. But at the same time, man, I have no filter, and I have a responsibility to call out bullshit as I see bullshit. And especially when it comes from the content creation world of professional wrestling. So that's what we're gonna do today. And also, don't forget we got the CLAHN of the week. If you have any nominees, if you see somebody recently that's been carrying themselves like a jackass, make sure to let us know in the chat box here on YouTube. So again, thank you guys for hanging out with us. You can follow me on Twitter at the Hoots Podcast. Pretty simple deal. You can follow us here on YouTube as well at the Hoots Podcast. And coming up this weekend, I will be wrapping up my final two G1 Climax articles. I've been covering the entire G1 tournament on the website ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. And it's going to be a little sentimental for me this weekend because after I'm done with the G1, that's going to be it. Until I get my job back, like I mentioned last week, until I get my job back, until I find myself in a suitable situation where I can get my job back and do what I love doing, which is making these wrestling result pieces. I'm just gonna be taking an extended hiatus from it, and it's a shitty feeling to say that out loud and knowing that the end is coming soon, but I can't sit and wait anymore, and it's. I try as best as I can. Try the best as I can. I pump out the articles. Sometimes we get likes, sometimes we don't. The views have been hit and miss, so it's kind of a little humbling situation here where I'm kind of noticing that the transcripts are not resonating with people. So if it's not resonating, why am I going to put the time into it? Why am I going to invest the time making these pieces if people are not going to care enough to make donations to the site, if sites are not going to be willing to pick me up knowing my skills and what I can offer? I'm just going to take a hiatus, man. I'm kind of tired of like dominating people's timelines on social media trying to see like how I can get my job back. That's unfair to you guys. That's unfair to me to put this pressure on myself for I didn't put myself on furlough. I didn't put myself in a position to lose my job, but here I am, and all I have is the time that I am spending right now and focusing on me and focusing on stuff I really need to focus on and bettering myself and reshaping how I see myself spiritually, figuratively, and et cetera, et cetera. And right now, making transcripts in the hopes of, hey, I might get my job back, and then who knows, it's January and I still have next to nothing in my bank account. What's the point of doing this? I'm not doing this stuff for free anymore. I'm just not. So I'm glad that I took the challenge of covering the G1 with these circumstances. I knew what was going to come with it when I decided to do it. And it's humbling, to see like you pump out things and you think people try to support it or whatever, and you get nothing in return, and that's what it is. So I'm gonna have my final G1 articles on Saturday and Sunday. This week has been very busy. Outside the stuff I've been doing workout wise, I did 3 consecutive days of G1 shows from Tuesday, Wednesday, and then earlier today. And I've been going really hard at it with these G1 articles. It's still out there for those who do want to check it out. It's at ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. But yeah, man, coming up at this weekend, once the G1's over, I'm taking an extended hiatus from making wrestling transcripts in general, and we'll see what the future holds. But let's have some fun. Let's get into what happened this past Saturday in Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan, as we had SummerSlam, a pay-per-view, a premium live event that I thought was a very, very entertaining show. Lengthy at certain extents, But I thought for the most part, I thought this was a very enjoyable pay-per-view. And when I look back at what happened on Saturday, there's a lot of things to look forward to on the horizon as we get towards the fall season here for WWE. And I think that there's some things that could be lining up for potential feuds. We had conclusions of feuds. Let's start off with this. Let's start off right at the gates with the opening match with Ricochet and Logan Paul. Very, very good match. Just a lot of interesting and creative spots. Logan Paul, me personally, I don't care whether or not you are a fan of him or not. That's not my deal. I don't care what other people think of other performers. I don't need other people's opinion or a podcaster's opinion to form my own opinion about a wrestler or a wrestling show or a match or whatever. So when I saw the match, I already knew that these guys would deliver, and I thought it was the right call for them to go first. And you have just what was going on athletically to the outside. Logan Paul doing the buckshot lariat to the outside. I thought was very nice. A couple of nice escapes and counters from shooting star presses and standing moonsaults. Everything in between you expect from these two guys, I thought was just very good. In a lot of ways, I think Logan Paul kind of outshined Ricochet in the ring too, which is very interesting. And these guys are very, very athletic. That's very obvious, but there's also very little nuances in wrestling that stand out. For those who've been watching it for a long time, you know what it is. You can see it. You can point it out. Logan Paul is just a natural at it, man. It's not just sequences and moves. It's just I felt like as the match was going on, Logan Paul had the crowd in the palm of his hands. And honestly, this Detroit crowd that was there for SummerSlam wasn't that great. To be honest with you, maybe it was a little gamble for them to have SummerSlam at Ford Field. Not saying that the crowd took away from the show because I still enjoyed it nonetheless, but you could there was this notable difference, whatever you want to say, from other premium live events we've seen this year in different markets. And I thought that, yeah, while the aesthetics of having SummerSlam inside a football stadium is cool and all, having your major events at the right markets for your product is also another thing you have to put into consideration. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, the aesthetics of what Ford Field looked like was cool. The last time they had a major show in Ford Field was WrestleMania 23, which is pretty funny because I was 13 years old when that show went down. So it's crazy that 16 years has gone by that fast. But all in all, the opening match I thought was good. I figured it would be the case that Logan Paul would defeat Ricochet and brass knuckle Jones, bam, right to the jaw. Ricochet just drops down. Logan Paul wins. Added a nice touch as the bad guy. He's making Samantha Irvin, Ricochet's fiance, basically say his name and just playing mind games with her. You can see the facial reactions. She had a facial expression. She had. I thought she did her role very well. So all in all, good in business. And it's pretty funny because Logan won the match and then he just automatically just boom. He just
Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth connected.
Hold up. I hope you guys are hearing me here. As I was saying, yeah. So Logan Paul won and he just jetted right out to Dallas to go see his brother fight Nate Diaz. I did not watch that show or that pay per view or whatever the situation was. I just not interested in boxing anymore as I was as a kid. So really wasn't there for me to really say anything about it, to be honest with you. So that was what it was. From there, we had the Slim Jim Battle Royal. LA Knight got the victory in that one. Everybody could rest a little bit now and not worry that his career is over. And this is really I want to talk about this week in wrestling. It's just that I'm personally exhausted with the discourse and topics of because one decision happens, that means so and so company, insert name of company, the sky is falling for that particular promotion. I'm kind of tired of that conversation. I'm tired of hearing it on the other wrestling podcasts that I do listen to, and I just feel like a lot of the style and the general conversations in this field is becoming very redundant and um, very counterproductive as well to the enjoyment of what we are. We're just fans, and I feel like a lot of people just take too much time trying to pump up their chest and act like they're the smartest person in the room. And it's like, look, we could come here. I can tell you what I like. I can tell you what I dislike, and we can keep it moving. We don't need to come on here, talk in circles, and opine and talk about booking to the cows come home. It's like, I don't know. I just feel, for me personally, as somebody who's been doing this for about a decade now, I feel like I have the right to observe and make my critiques as it is for the field. And it's just like, I feel like a lot of us are doing you guys a disservice as fans because we got to come on here and, hey, I'm top tier analyst for this week, and oh, I need to get so many subscribers on YouTube. I'm gonna do these rants, and I'm gonna have veins popping out of my forehead, and it's just like, it's just not worth it. And it's stuff that I don't want to do. I don't want to do this stuff. Like, later we got to talk about this whole stuff with the bloodline and whether or not the faction, the best entity in professional wrestling the last 3 years. Now people are saying it's jumped the shark because Jimmy Uso cost Jay the title. Now the faction's over and it's useless. I'm just tired of it. I guess you guys can catch my drift. I'm starting to lose my passion for wrestling media creation. So um I might get a lot of dislikes for this video, but that's okay. I'm just speaking for me. But LA Knight won. Everybody's flavor of the month, as Miz said on TV this week. LA Knight won the Slim Jim Battle Royal. Got a big pop from the crowd. It was nice seeing Omos out there. I haven't seen him in a while, so it was pretty cool to see him out there. Got the big pop. Everybody eliminated him. So you have your little different tea leaves there. You see Karrion Kross cost AJ Styles the match. And then we saw LA Knight get the victory there. So LA Knight got the victory. Crowd was excited. They got what they wanted. So no harm, no foul there. Let's talk about this match here. I really, really, really enjoyed. It was Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes. I've watched a lot of different wrestling over the years. I've even gone back to watch stuff from the AWA and Mid-South and World Class Championship Wrestling from Texas with the Von Erichs. And if you want to talk about visually what an old school match would look like in 2023, it's that match there, because I thought Brock and Cody did a fantastic job. I thought the layout of their match is really very good. I think this has been Brock Lesnar's one of his best matches in the last 2 to 3 years. And another thing that's not being talked about enough is the fact that the story in the ring did not necessitate the need of having gimmicks and it having to be a no DQ or a Texas bull rope match or whatever other gimmick match people were suggesting over the last couple of weeks. This is the charm where I like to say that the stories that really matter at the end of the day, the stories that are actually told, is what's told inside that 20 by 20 ring, 20 by 20 ring. All this stuff that we see on TV with Raw and SmackDown and all that is just window dressing. When we get to these premium live events, that's where the stories speak for themselves, right? And when you see what went down here with Brock Lesnar and Cody, you got the best of everything that's gone on in this feud with these guys. The video package beforehand was fantastic. The big fight feel to it was there. I thought the crowd was there for Cody. Obviously, it was a big victory for him at the end. Brock was dominating about 75% of the match, and Cody showing his grit and spirit. You know, yeah, do you want to call it Goody Two Shoes baby face or John Cena 2.0, whatever you want to call it? Uh, I just really enjoyed the way the flow of that match was going because it was old school. You didn't need a bunch of bells and whistles and a bunch of bullshit for it to be entertaining and get the crowd interested in it. And you know, couple false finishes, couple Cody cutters, Cody kicking out of the F5, Cody getting Brock in the Kimura lock was very good. You had a lot of I just really loved how that match just played out. This is like a very good old school match. Like, let's say like you have Harley Race against Kurt Hennig, or like Greg Valentine against Roddy Piper, any of these other scenarios you want to compare it to. I just really enjoyed the old school nature of this match, and I thought it was very entertaining, and I think Brock and Cody deserve a lot of credit for what they pulled off. And then, you had the moment after the match with Brock coming to shake Cody's hand and giving him a hug and basically putting him over from the crowd. And and whether you believe that decision was not planned or a plan or not, that's your deal. I really don't care one way or another. I thought it was a really special moment. It was cool to see Cody's mom in the crowd. Obviously, there were some other ties to this match with the fact that Brandy Rhodes' family is from Detroit. So I thought that was very cool for Cody and his family. And obviously, it was a big victory that Cody needed on that type of stage. So I thought the match was fantastic, and both guys deserve a lot of credit. And, that poses a question: what happens next for Brock Lesnar? What happens next for Cody Rhodes? There's just a lot of different things that we have to consider as this feud continues on. But all that being said, good shit from Brock and Cody. I, like everybody, was very indifferent to the Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey MMA rules match. Me personally, I'm not a fan of MMA, so it kind of cancels me out from an interest standpoint in the ring when I'm seeing MMA rules. Hell, half the time when I see the Great O'Khan wrestle, like, this kind of like indifferent to it because it's just like chain grappling and amateur style MMA stuff is just not for me. I find that stuff extra boring. And having MMA matches in the pro wrestling environment is very hit and miss for me. I mean, I can make exceptions to the rule with like those fight pit matches, and maybe that probably would have been a better fit for those two ladies in the match. I like the build up. Those pre-tape vignettes that we saw before SummerSlam to hype up this match. I thought it was very good, and obviously Shayna Baszler got the victory that she needed. But I just think from a entertainment point of view, and especially when you have a show in a stadium like that where it's not in like a major people are gonna say I'm just gonna dog Detroit here because I'm from Chicago, but I just call it what it is. When you're having a show, even though it's in a football stadium, regardless of the fact they're in the football stadium, when you're having shows that are in like above average markets for pro wrestling, or sometimes below average, in this case Detroit, you know you, to have that type of match in that environment with that type of crowd is a risk, and obviously that did not work well. And I don't know if people were just going into the match just waiting for it to be over because they're just so tired of Ronda Rousey. I'm not sure if it was like a Goldberg situation and Brock from WrestleMania 20. I'm not sure why the crowd was that quiet, but I just thought that match was a miss, so it was what it was. What else we gotta talk about here that I forgot to mention? For Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, my bad. Seth Rollins and Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship. That was my personal favorite match from SummerSlam this past Saturday. I loved it. The crowd got back into the show for that match, especially. That match was fucking phenomenal. The false finishes, everything that went on with the Judgment Day. I thought there was a moment, especially that I thought that Finn was gonna win the title, and so many things up there. Is Priest gonna cash in? Is Rollins gonna retain? Is Finn gonna win? Will JD McDonough show up? So many different scenarios and what ifs. That crowd was fantastic for that match, and I'm so glad for Seth and Finn, especially because what happened in Brooklyn back in 2016 or wherever it was so stupid that you have two guys who are internet ROH indie style darlings and they're having a match for the inaugural Universal Championship. In 80% of the match, the crowd was more fixated on what the color of the prop was instead of the fact that two of their favorites are in the ring beating each other's ass. So the fact that they were able to have this match 7 years later and they made that such a big talking point and point of emphasis in that match, I'm happy for Seth and Finn that the focus was what they were doing in the ring. And again, that's really my takeaway from this pay-per-view. Whether you liked some of the decisions or not, whether you thought the show was too long or whatever the situation was, it illustrates what I've been expressing on the show for the last 7 years. Let the stories be told inside the ring. I get it. We have television, and I'm not saying that storylines are not important or character development is not important. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is the ultimate story or push or build, all that stuff is window dressing. The story that actually matters is when that fucking bell rings. That's what matters. And that's what we saw with Seth and Finn. It's the same thing that we see with Gunther matches. He retained against Drew McIntyre. Much to the surprise of absolutely nobody, these two beat the crap out of each other, and it was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed that match. So shout out to Gunther. He retains his Intercontinental Championship. But going back here with Seth and Finn, again, you just have so many different avenues you could go from here now, and we kind of got that addressed on Monday Night Raw, which we'll get into later on in this week in WWE. But again, I want to give props to Seth and Finn because, I felt like that was a bit of like poetic justice for them, for the fact that, in my opinion, I thought Seth and Finn stole the show on Saturday. As much as I love the Logan Paul and Ricochet match, I thought Seth and Finn had the best match of the show outside of Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. So I'm very happy for Seth and Finn, and I thought that was a great match for not only for both those guys, but also that World Heavyweight Championship as well. So big props to all of them involved. I want to give a big shout out to the ladies too, because they were kind of put in a tough spot. When you're in a long show and you're following a match that people are just on the edge of their seat for, it kind of takes a while for them to build up momentum and energy again. But here we are, as I say all the time, big stages, big time matches. Nobody performs on a higher level from the female wrestling standpoint than Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, and Asuka, triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship. It doesn't matter what the situation is, no matter what city it is or what show it is, Charlotte Flair delivers the goods. Obviously, we all know how good Asuka is in the ring. We all know how good and athletic Bianca Belair is. But again, we need to... I know it's hard for people to give credit to Charlotte because there's this there's this complex, and we see it a lot in sports. People just dislike people who are great at what they do, And Charlotte Flair is phenomenal. Again, she puts on banger matches on big time stages more than anybody I've seen from a female wrestling standpoint. Charlotte Flair is the end all be all when it comes to big time matches, and she's just fantastic, man. There's so many different examples I could use, but we saw the match that her and Rhea had at WrestleMania this year. It was phenomenal. I wouldn't say this triple threat match was phenomenal, but you get my point. Like these ladies were put in a hard spot following the Finn and Seth Rollins world title match. And again, the crowd was on the edge of their seat for this match as well. Like, you don't know who you want to win. A couple of interesting spots. You had the angle where we weren't sure if Bianca Belair busted her knee or if it's a serious injury. She comes back. She does a 450 splash. Charlotte has Asuka in a figure eight, I think it was, right? And then Asuka missed Charlotte in the face and blinded her. And then Bianca came back into the ring and uh, pinned Asuka to win the title. I did not see that coming. I thought the finish of that match was very good as well. So Bianca won the women's title. She has the messed up knee. Here we are. It's SummerSlam season. You want to shock some people. You want a big moment for the women's division. That supposedly Triple H doesn't care about, right? So we see and we hear the music of Io Shirai's music. She comes down to the ring. It's time to cash in that Money to Bank contract, pal. Out comes Io Sky with Bayley. Bayley's laying out Charlotte and Bianca on the outside. No, my bad. Charlotte and Asuka on the outside. Io comes in. She cashes in her briefcase. She gets the moonsault over Bianca Belair. And Io Shirai, or Io Sky, whatever you want to call her, is now your brand new WWE Women's Champion. I thought that was a very big moment for the women's division, especially on SmackDown, and a moment I think they needed, and the crowd ate it up. I'm very happy for Io. There was part of me who wasn't sure whether or not she would ever become the actual women's champion. So I'm happy for her. That leaves things. That leaves a lot of things up in the air right now. You have what's gonna happen next for Charlotte. What's next for Bianca? Will she turn heel fully? Will she join forces with Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits? What's next for Asuka? What's going to happen with Io Shirai and Bayley? Is Bayley going to be jealous? Let's say Io has her celebration tomorrow on SmackDown, right? And then Bayley turns on her. We had Io and Bayley on the Grayson Waller effect last Friday on SmackDown, and Io ended up winning the title at SummerSlam. Would not be surprised if Bayley turns on Io tomorrow. You got the nice moment. It was nice to see Dakota Kai in the ring with Bayley and Io after the match is over. She's not ready to return back to competition, but it was nice to see her on TV nonetheless. So I thought, those ladies, they did their job under some unevil under some circumstances that I wouldn't wish on anybody following a match like Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. But all in all, shout out to the ladies. I thought they did a great job. Let me take a swig of water really quick. All right. Let's talk about the main event. Let's get into what everybody wants to talk about. Now, for purposes for the show, I'm going to separate this into different talking points. Right here, I'm going to talk about just the match and how it ended the show. And I know a lot of people want to get my thoughts on how things are going to happen with Jimmy and Jay. I'm going to save that in This Week in WWE because that deserves a more nuanced conversation than me rushing and disputing out just a bunch of random stuff and then losing the point of what I want to express here. So as far as how I would go about Jimmy and Jay Uso going forward, don't go anywhere. I will address that in This Week in WWE. But let's talk about the match. Roman Reigns and Jay Uso. The energy for especially for Jay Uso's entrance was fantastic. The crowd was all into it. I was into it. It was a vibe. It was a vibe in there, and I could see to a certain extent that maybe people are Kind of getting tired of the formula of Roman Reigns matches, especially recently where it's very slow and methodic and Roman's talking smack half the time. That stuff doesn't bother me because, I watch a lot of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Hiroshi Tanahashi and Okada matches could go very slow for the first 15 to 20 minutes. They don't start building up their speed and momentum until like the last 10 minutes of their matches. And most times you see guys like Okada and Tanahashi, they have these 20 to 25-minute matches. So the slow, methodical pace with Roman Reigns and stuff like that doesn't really bother me. Now, if you want to talk about the constant interference or the overuses of ref bumps, okay, maybe that's the point that you have. But also, let's also forget that there was not a ref bump in this match. Yes, we had interference, and also Roman Reigns is a heel, so you got to pick a lane, man. Do you want the guy to be a heel or not? You can't knock the guy and say his title reign is illegitimate because he always has constant interference. He's a heel. What do you want him to do? So, I feel like maybe they could have took out at least 5 extra minutes off this match. I felt this match went a little longer than it needed to. Also, it's just kind of the pacing of the show. I think this is probably the longest premium live event that's gone on this year that's not like WrestleMania related. I don't know if that was by design, but yeah. I wouldn't say this match was bad or horrible. I heard somebody say earlier that the match sucked. I wouldn't agree with that. I know there's a lot of anger and conjecture this week over the fact that it was Jimmy who cost Jay the match, over the fact that Jimmy was the one that convinced Jay to turn his back on Roman in the first place. I'm going to get to all that a little later on. But what I really want to express here and talk about as we wrap up this review for SummerSlam here on the Hoots podcast is the notion of the bloodline has jumped the shark. And that's where we get to the title of this week's episode. It's been very easy for me to just put in, hey, SummerSlam review and get lazy clicks like that. But everybody wants to talk about this weekend. They want to opine on the bloodline and the future and their value of where they are right now compared to where it was at SummerSlam or with the Sami Zayn stuff. And here's the deal. Has the bloodline jumped the shark? Well, I don't know what's jumped the shark more. The bloodline angle or wrestling fans feeling like they need to have the sky is falling, the world's coming to an end narrative with insert company each and every single week. Am I the only one that's tired of seeing that stuff on social media every week? And I get it. That's the bad side of social media. You're not going to run away from it. It's like Star Wars fans. The worst enemy to pro wrestling is its fans. The same thing applies with Star Wars. I get the whole deal. Trust me, I do. I really do. But I don't know how we go from 2 weeks, at least 2 or 3 weeks ago, whatever that show was in Madison Square Garden, where they had their conversation after Money in the Bank, right? People are saying this is cinema, a segment that goes 40 minutes on SmackDown. People are saying this is cinema, this is great storytelling. And then we see what happens on Saturday at SummerSlam, and folks are like, oh, yeah, the bloodline has run its course. It's getting stale. It's jumped the shark. There's no need to it anymore. This is just another reason to extend Roman Reigns' title reign. This is another example why Roman does not need a title in order to feud with his family. And it's like, people are so gung-ho on the fact that Cody Rhodes had to defeat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania this past year, that no matter what he does, no matter what the metrics say, or no matter the fact that you see what happened in the previous quarter revenue-wise for the company, doesn't matter what Roman Reigns does, it doesn't matter what the Wise Man does, it doesn't matter what this angle does, people will always attach an asterisk towards Roman Reigns. And sure, as those who are watching and listening to this, you might say to yourself, Man, Joshie, you're the wrong person to talk about. You're biased. You love the tribal chief. You're a Roman Reigns mark. You damn right I am. I'm not gonna run from it. I'm not gonna come here and fiddle fuck around and act like I'm not a fan of the guy. I am. I've been a fan of the guy since day one. I've been down with the Usos since day one. I love the bloodline before it was even cool to love the bloodline. The bloodline, you remember back in 2016 when Roman was working with the Usos against AJ Styles and Gallows and Anderson, and people were booing Roman and the Usos during that time period? Yeah. I've been down with these guys from day one, so of course I'm going to enjoy it. But also from an objective point of view, look at the ratings on SmackDown. Look at the stuff that happened with Sami Zayn. Look at the stuff that went on with Cody Rhodes. Look at the stuff that happened at Money in the Bank when the Usos defeated Roman and Solo at Money in the Bank. Look at all the different twists and turns that we see from this faction and this angle since it started back in 2020. And now you're telling me because Jimmy cost Jay the world title, is now the faction is jumped the shark. I think that's bullshit, to be honest with you. Look, whether you were a fan of Roman Reigns or not, that's your prerogative. I'm not going to begrudge you for not being a fan, but also let's not sit here and talk with a straight face and say that the bloodline angle has not been working. You just don't like the guy, so you're going to come up with any excuse or any example you can make to justify your opinion. There's a lot of things in wrestling media that I can't stand, and a lot of it is confirmation bias, where we skew opinions to facts. My opinion is that Roman Reigns' title reign is going too long, so the bloodline angle is not working. Okay, that's your opinion. That does not mean in reality that the feud or the angle or the title reign itself is not working, right? And that's what I'm trying to express here. Look, if you're tired of the bloodline, that's your prerogative. But don't tell people that the bloodline angle has jumped the shark. It's a flop. It's over. It's reaching NWO territory. All this other bullshit I've been seeing on Twitter this week. Like, are we kidding here? And then the age-old thing on wrestling Twitter, whenever a decision goes down over something that maybe they didn't fancy book in their head, it's the age-old, well, hey, man, I didn't like that decision because it didn't make sense. Okay, something in a scripted television show for something that's not a sport. So you're saying it doesn't make sense for Jimmy to cost Jey Uso. Why? But because you didn't get the answer at that moment as to why Jimmy turned on Jay, that means that doesn't make sense. I'm going to say the Jimmy and Jay stuff a little later on. But again, all this stuff this week I've been seeing about the bloodline has jumped the shark. Oh, this is just another excuse for Roman to pad on more days for his title reign and all this stuff. It's just nonsense. The guy is the biggest attraction in the entire wrestling business. Whether you like it or not. Whether you like his matches or not. Whether you like his promos or not. Whether you are still butthurt over the fact that Cody Rhodes did not defeat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, or the fact that you're even more butthurt that Sami Zayn didn't beat Roman Reigns in Montreal. Roman Reigns is the biggest attraction in the industry. And again, at least I haven't forgot, we are watching the wrestling business. This is not pro wrestling is not a fucking charity case. So attach all asterisks you want towards Roman Reigns and the bloodline because you still have it out for the guy. You can't look at Roman Reigns past the lens of what happened in 2015 or what CM Punk said in his podcast with Cole Cabana in 2014. I'm not going to tell you to acknowledge the guy. Look at the metrics, look at the money, look at the revenue. It speaks for itself. All I'm just saying is let's not start spewing opinions as facts. Yeah, I am a mark of the bloodline. Yes, I am a fan of the bloodline. I am a fan of the Usos. I am a fan of Solo. I am a fan of Roman Reigns. Of course, I'm a fan of Paul Heyman. I am a student of the game after all. But all this stuff about the bloodline angle is jump the shark. This is at a point of no return. Blah 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 blah. It's like, really? all you all of you who have been a pioneer for long-term storytelling and twists and turns and things not to be predictable and etc 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 and reasons to watch the television show outside of wrestling matches, you're getting it. And this is really a testament over the fact that we live in a short attention span era of the industry, and you guys are being tested by it. As Roman Reigns said after WrestleMania, this is not McDonald's. This is not Burger King. This is filet mignon. Now, all this stuff with Paul Heyman at the press conference saying that we're in the bottom of the third inning and everything like that, I think all that stuff is tongue in cheek. At the end of the day, the moment will come when the moment deserves to come when Roman loses that championship. It's been the best world title run that we've seen in the last 25 to 30 years. And it deserves to go out when it deserves to go out. Not when it's fantasy booking idea or it'll come when it's the right time to come. And as I said 100 times on this show, Cody Rhodes defeats Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. 2 months later, people start booing Cody Rhodes out of the building. Sami Zayn beats Roman Reigns in Montreal. Roman Reigns gets the title back before WrestleMania and still beats Cody Rhodes. And that's just an objective observation as someone who's been covering pro wrestling for the last 10 years. I can see patterns, I can see trends, I can see how things go. And that's just what it is. So I don't get to sit here and tell you to acknowledge the guy. If you did not like the tribal combat match, more power to you. But all this stuff about the bloodline is jump the shark. It's just a bunch of knee jerk, sissy ass. I need to find something to bitch about every single week. I just found all those takes this week to be very, very, very disingenuous. Because once this angle is over, once the bloodline is over, a lot of people are going to miss it too, because they're not appreciating what's happening in the moment. We always got to rush to what's next in these ADD mindsets. So I don't know what else to tell you, but I'll tell you this. I thought SummerSlam was a very, very good premium live event. Even with how long it was, I thought it was a very good show. And I thought some good stuff there. So that concludes our review for SummerSlam. By the way, for those who are saying that the bloodline has jumped the shark, this goes out to you.
I'm not CLAHN. You're big on CLAHN.
All right, folks, it's time for one of our favorite segments here on the podcast, is who is called the Back Porch Q&A session, my friends. The Back Porch Q&A session. As always, if you ever have a question, let me know. Hit me up on Twitter at the Hoots Podcast or the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com. I appreciate the support. We are indeed 27 episodes away from episode 400 of the Hoots Podcast. I almost said poop. No, this podcast is not containing poop for sure. But I do appreciate, again, the support, everybody. I only got a few questions this week, so what I'm going to do here with this segment is answer Chris's questions, because that's the only questions I got this week. And then I'll give you guys a little update of how things have been going with me with the workout stuff and other stuff that's been going on in my head personally, as I usually do with these Backboard Q&A segments. So again, I appreciate everybody who does participate with these segments. And if you ever have any questions, just ask away as we record this live. And love to see what's on your mind. So let's start off as we usually do. As tradition, for the podcast at Hoots, make sure to give a shout out to the good brother Chris Zaletta, X Teams Zaletta 24X on Twitter. He says, "What up, Oos? Here's some questions for the Q&A this week. What do you think of the changes to the commentary tables, and when should Vic Joseph get moved up?" This is a very interesting time for WWE and Michael Cole. I thought Michael Cole, again, had a very good outing at SummerSlam, and obviously him and Graves are the main two guys who do the commentary for those premium live events. So them being on SmackDown with Kevin Patrick, I'm kind of curious to see how that dynamic's going to play out tomorrow. I think there's maybe some more grooming that they want to do with Kevin. I wouldn't say that he's been horrible or anything like that. That doing play-by-play for wrestling is not easy. So I'm not going to come here and shit on the guy. I just feel overall for many years that just the vibe of Corey Graves on Raw is needed to change for a while. And again, that's not even a knock towards him personally or anything like that. I've been a Corey Graves fan before, and I listened to his podcast every week after the bell. But I just feel like him on Raw every week for the last 4 or 5 years has just ran its course. And I'm personally glad that he's not on there anymore, and that Michael Cole and Wade Barrett are on Raw now. And you noticed that vibe this week as the show went on, and we'll talk about that a little later on. So I like the changes right now, but it's also, again, interesting time in the company where we're getting closer to this merger actually happening with Endeavor and WWE, and this whole TKO thing. What's gonna happen with that? We'll see. I have I have no hunch. I'm not really into the weeds when it comes to the business side of the wrestling business, so your guess is good as mine of how all that stuff is gonna play out. But as far as the commentary stuff is concerned, I like the moves. I think it was necessary to have Cole back on Monday Night Raw. He is the main guy who does commentary, and he should be on the flagship show of the WWE, and that still is Monday Night Raw. And also, maybe that could give you a little inclination of where things are going or where they stand right now with the TV rights deal. I'm not saying that I have any links or any sources behind that, but maybe that's a decision that maybe Fox might not retain SmackDown. I'm not really sure. But as far as Vic Joseph is concerned, I don't think it's an issue of him not being worthy enough of being on Raw or SmackDown. I think more than anything, it's probably a decision on his end, and maybe more of a decision on Shawn Michaels, especially that I think Shawn really relies on Vic being the voice of NXT and keeping people interested in the show. I really enjoy Vic's work. I think he does a great job. I think him and Booker are a good commentary team, but also at the same time, I still feel I think it's more of an issue with Shawn wanting to keep Vic in NXT than Vic not being given the opportunity to be on Raw or SmackDown again. Thoughts on Nakamura possibly at Payback? Check out this week in WWE. Next challenger for Roman, is it Sheamus? Again, make sure to check out this week in WWE. Best match for SummerSlam, I thought it was Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. Your path to Mania for Jimmy and Jay. Again, check out this week in WWE. Thoughts on RVD's performance last night? I thought he looked great. I thought he looked awesome. I really did. I thought he did a very, very good job. Excuse me. I thought RVD looked fantastic. I don't care much about Jack Perry. I think he's very mid, and I'll say that a little later on when we get to what the hell's wrong with AEW. But all in all, I thought Rob Van Dam looked great. I was not surprised by anything that I saw from RVD on Wednesday night on TBS. I thought he looked fantastic, and he's always been a great wrestler. So it was nice to see him get his flowers, if you will, on Dynamite last night, and I thought he did a very, very good job. So shout out to RVD. The next question here, he says, does the U.S. title change hands this Friday? Yes, I believe Santos Escobar will defeat Austin Theory for the United States Championship. That is my prediction. No. Who should Brock's next program be with? Good question. Um, I know a lot of people are gonna say Gunther, and I would not have an issue seeing Brock Lesnar against Gunther. Of course, I think that'd be fantastic. But also at the same time, part of me wants to see Brock Lesnar and Kevin Owens in an actual match and program this time. Or maybe Brock and Sami Zayn, something like that. Maybe an underdog trying to fight up against the Beast. I don't know. Sammy and Kevin have had two very big, distinct pushes and stuff for these past two WrestleManias. I am kind of curious to see how their journey is going to play out as we get closer to WrestleMania 40 and where their trajectory goes. I think that Brock and Kevin can have some good business there. But if you want to do Brock and Gunther, I would not have a problem with that at all. Who surprised you in the G1 with their performances? Very good question there, Chris. That's Chris's final question this week. As always, if you want to participate in the Back Porch Q&A session, all you have to do is hit me up at Twitter at the Hoots Podcast or the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com. Very good question. I'll answer this. I think Yota Tsuji, even though his record and points did not measure out to getting to the next stage of the G1 Climax tournament, I thought he had a lot of very good matches. That was my first time seeing Tsuji back from excursion because I've been dealing with my whole situation with the whole budget cuts and all that stuff. So I haven't really been catching up with New Japan after Wrestle Kingdom was over. Like literally, I did Wrestle Kingdom. That was the last show that I did for New Japan wise on at the place I was working at, and I took a break. Like I only started doing the G1 shows when I decided that I wanted to do the G1. So I have seen Tsuji. I didn't know he was back, or the fact that he joined LIJ. So seeing him, I think he did a great job. Same thing applies to Shota Umino. I think he's improved a lot since the time I saw him make his return against not John Moxley, when he returned and fought Jay White at the Windy City Riot show at the Odeum in Villa Park. I remember that. That was in April of last year. Windy City Riot. So Shota Yota, I thought were very good. Obviously, Zack Sabre Jr. Always delivers the good when it comes to the G1. Nothing really else surprises. I mean, yeah, a lot of your same cast of characters who deliver the goods in the G1, but all in all, I think Tsuji and Umino were the best that stood out the most to me. So let me touch on this really quick before we get into our next part of the show, and I'll talk a little bit more about the G1 in a little bit because we have our weekly report for the G1. Let's talk a little bit about this. For those who are wondering, I am not personally tracking what my weight is right now, or how much weight I've lost since I've been doing this. Everybody knows about my little construction project that I'm on and trying to get down to 205 pounds. It's a lot of work. It is. I haven't reached the point where I felt fatigued. Excuse me. There hasn't been a time where I felt like I wanted to stop. Also, another good sign. There hasn't been a day where I woke up. It's like, oh, I don't want to do this either. Like I said before, for those who know me, I am very driven by doubt and motivation, and I like challenges. So when I was set over the edge and I made the decision for myself that I wanted to do this for me, I was gonna go at this 110%. And really, that's been my mindset with this the entire time. I've been consistent with this for the last 2.5 months, and I walk every Monday through Friday for at least 60 to 90 minutes. depending on how much I want to do on the particular reps. This week I've done a lot of extra minutes that I've done before, and I say probably the most I walked throughout the week is on Wednesdays. And today I think I got around 12,000 steps as well. So um, I think probably um, if I had to calculate, I get around at least 20 miles a week. I get around 50,000 steps. I get around um, burning at least around, I don't know, 1,500 or almost close to 2,000 calories a week with the walks, at least from what I can see from my health app. Um, I really don't know where I am weight wise. I am starting to notice some progress, and I'm very happy with how things have been going. Also, it's been my second week of learning how to cook and do all that stuff with the meal preps, so that's been cool. I've been same amount of time and effort I've been putting into the wise. I've been doing the same thing with meal preps, and again, I haven't ate fast food since I moved to this new place. I haven't um, ordered any food here since I moved out here. um, just really I'm really going at this headstrong and going at it like a bull, and just like I'm going as full savage mode. Like I'm going nonstop. Tomorrow, usually I do an hour walk on Fridays. Tomorrow I'm going for 75 minutes. So each week I get to choose what I want to do. I do my walks, and once I'm done with them, I have a little rep that I do each week, each rep with dumbbells and stuff. So I am getting some weightlifting stuff in there in between. Um, this was my current predicament right now. I can't afford to do something at a gym. I don't drive, and me personally, I'm getting more done productive wise and feeling more confident with myself doing these workouts at home than going at a gym. Um, I'm walking and doing the stuff at home. That does not mean I'm not sweating. There's that misnomer out there that you're only working out. And it's valid if you're sweating at a gym. I don't think that's the case. If you're putting your time in and you're going at it 100%, you are gonna sweat, and I feel it once I'm done with these walks, especially these longer ones. And I start off my day and I do nothing but walks, and I've been sprinkling the stuff with the G1 as I've been going on with these walks and everything, and it's been going great. I feel personally, earlier in the show, I wouldn't say vent, but I just been admitted that I've lost a lot of my passion and fun when it comes to creating wrestling transcripts and stuff like that. I'm still having fun doing this, recording the show for you guys. Like I say, this show is therapy for me, so I appreciate what this platform is. So I'm still having fun with this. And personally, I'm in a really good mood. I feel great. I don't have any aches or anything when I wake up. I'm having fun with it. I like the challenge. It's stuff that I feel maybe I should have done maybe 4 years ago or stuff like that. But the more important thing is that I'm just doing it now, and I'm not slowing anytime soon. I'm not gonna stop anytime soon. Like I said, I haven't got to the point where I feel like there's a day where I want to take off or whatever. Like, no, I have to do this, and I have to do this for me. And no matter how long it takes, I will reach my goal. And I'm just again, I appreciate for those who've been supportive with me throughout this process. Again, shout out to my Titi, my Uncle Jose, for helping me out with this. It's meant a lot to me. Also, shout out to them because they recently celebrated their anniversary. So I'm gonna give a shout out to both my Uncle Jose and my Titi Lucy. I love you guys very much, and that was. This stuff with the meal preps and everything like that, it's just a new lifestyle change for me. And really, my mind and focus and attention has really been on loving myself again. And, you know, it's been busy. I, I'm not at a work right now. I don't have a job, but these workouts are like my job now because I'm putting that much time and effort into it, and making sure I'm just on top of my things with everything else that's pertinent to having a good life. And I'm just taking it 1 week at a time. And I feel like I'm making good progress. Tomorrow, I'm going to walk for 75 minutes straight and see how that goes. Last week, I did 25 miles. I think by this time tomorrow, I'll get close to 30 miles, which is pretty cool. So I'm just going at it headstrong, man. Like I'm gonna be consistent with this. We'll see when I reach my goal. I'm kind of curious to see how things are going to be for me once we get around 400 and see where I am, how that's concerned. Again, me personally right now, I'm not really concerned of what my weight is because I know that I've been on top of this stuff and consistent with this. So I feel like progress will show just with the consistency that what I'm doing. I don't have a weight scale here. So again, I just haven't had the need to feel like I need to go on a scale and see where I'm at and track that. I'm not at that stage yet. There's a lot I need to shed off, and I'm feeling it. I'm seeing progress, and more importantly, I'm feeling more happy and just better about myself through this process. So it's been going good. I really have no complaints. It's been going very, very good, and I'm just excited for what the future holds. I'm going to shock a lot of people once this whole deal is done. And I have no complaints because it's been going so great, this whole experience. And it's good. And it's very encouraging to continue doing it when people are encouraging you and wanting you to do it and letting you go at it at your own pace. And I'm just very appreciative, and it's been going great, so it's cool. On that note, that will be concluding our back porch Q&A session and our little live discussion here on the podcast at Hoots. As always, if you want to ask me a question, all you have to do is hit me up at Twitter at the Hoots Podcast or the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com. But when we come back, we'll talk about what happened this week in WWE right here on the Hoots Podcast. All right, time to talk about what happened this week in WWE and the age-old question. Where do we go here with Jimmy and Jey Uso? There's a couple things I want to address here before I give you my fantasy booking idea of how you can get to Jimmy and Jey Uso at WrestleMania. But first, I need to address the topic and the comments of Jimmy turning on Jey Uso doesn't make sense. Well, I like to talk about and have conversations that have nuance and substance to it. And I don't need to say it for myself. I'm going to let the Usos explain to you why this makes sense and why they wanted this in the first place. And we're going to play a little conversation that they had with Ariel Helwani on TNT Sports from the UK. And I hope you guys enjoy it and gain some knowledge here from Jimmy and Jey from this situation. Let them tell you why this makes sense. So you guys are talking about why is Jimmy turned on Jey? This doesn't make sense. Oh, brother and brother scenes and rivalries don't work. Well, let's hear from the horse's mouth, shall we? Let's check this out.
Has anyone in WWE ever pitched you guys a feud between you guys? You split, but like not just go your separate ways, like actually Jimmy versus Jey.
Funny thing is we haven't pitched it yet, but we're constantly saying it to each other.
Really?
Before our career is done, man, like that's me and his go-to. That's my number one, dream of happening. Me versus him at a WrestleMania.
Wow. Why? Why does that mean so much?
Because it's like back in the living room, Moose. Like from day one again, man. Like this is what we always wanted to do. I want my dad to be in there, be involved, like a referee. Like I just want my whole family to run this thing, and just me being against my brother, like my heart be filled with joy, man.
And for the record, we don't take acting classes. It's just easy to zone in on your brother and your cousins, and it's so easy to just like to be emotionally involved.
Well, that's what's made this so special. Like every week, you got, like you said, leveled up. Like this is being called one of the greatest angles in the history of the business, and that's a really big statement.
Appreciate that, man.
And it feels legit. Like a couple of weeks ago, that whole closing sequence at SmackDown. I mean, like a movie, like the kids say. This is movie stuff, and it's like every week, how are you guys going to top it? And you keep topping it. Could you describe what it's like being, like for us, it's a treat. Like we're just sitting back and enjoying it, but like to be a part of it, and not just be a part of this angle that's being considered one of the greatest with your family members. It's so personal to where you don't have to fake it. You don't have to do anything. It's all being tapped in from right here. What is it like for you guys to actually be a part of all of this?
Until you watch it back, like when you watch it, you know, then we'll sit there. We always get our clips, Wise Man's, makes really very great mentor, very, always been around our family. But we got beef now, of course. Once we watch the product back, man, we're just like, yo, did you see that? It came off better than we ever thought. We're not trying to make this a Grammy thing. We just want to go out there and just
every night. We don't worry about the next week. Like, well, what about next week? Goose, where we going? No, I don't know. We just going tonight. We gonna hit it on the head, and deliver every single night. And I like it because we sit in there with each other. We get to like brainstorm together, man. Like, what we doing here, bro? Like calling the play, go out there and run it.
And I remember back last year, like in November, I think we had a conversation of like, yo, man, we might be able to. We should main event. I think we got it. This is the year we can make history. Main event WrestleMania as the tag teams ever, main event WrestleMania, and we did it. And to get from when we first got into here, how tag team really was it to this year main event WrestleMania was like it was a threshold that we crossed, man. It was a milestone that we reached. It was something personal that me and brother was like.
Yeah, tag
remember
teams.
after the match, bro, we kind of just laid there.
Yeah.
Like after, I remember just laying after the match, laying. That's right.
No
I'm laying
one
right
knows
by
this.
him.
No one knows this, right?
Yeah.
Like
in LA.
LA.
Yeah, after the match, after the 1, 2, 3, the big pop, they're all in the ring. Sammy and Kale's in the ring. I just roll outside and lay by my brother, and we're just holding hands.
Just grab his hand. Like I didn't even know what to say, bro. But I just remember just holding his hand.
We're
just looking up.
Which is the best part, man. After you do work and you laying there like, sweaty, tired and stuff, man, and the light, you just looking up at the lights, but in the center of all that, it's almost like it's quiet. You can't hear because it's so loud.
You almost have this validation, like we're here now. Like now we're here, even though we lost. But I remember Booker said, bro, it's cool how you win, but it's even more how you lose out there. So yeah, y'all went out there, y'all did it good. Y'all did it, y'all did it, man. Y'all are here. So I just remember thinking like, damn, man, we are here, man.
Emotional.
Like let's go.
Man. I'm getting goosebumps just hearing about you guys holding hands.
Yeah, man.
Did you say anything to each other?
Nothing. Just nothing. Just laid there.
We was laying on tables and it was dope, man. My mom's right here yelling. I'm like, we're all right, we're good.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a moment like that before? Where you felt the need to hold hands?
I think the only one was the first time we won the titles. The very first time we've actually won the tag team championships. Because when we did win them, we won them from, New Age Outlaws, which we was already like standing across the ring being like, holy damn.
Yeah, man, New Age Outlaws, bro.
And then on top of that, we're going over. They're passing us, they're giving it to us. So I remember not even going after the titles, we went to each other. Other than that, I think that's one of the biggest moments, like just between me and him in our career.
Have you surprised yourselves, like without disrespecting what you're doing, to be honest, like the way you guys are performing out there, this is like, I would think that you guys have been actors for 20 years. Like that's not normal, right? It's not normal to have that kind of emotion. Are you surprising yourself at how good you are on camera now? Not from the wrestling, we knew you were great wrestlers, but in terms of like the whole package, the promos, the moments, and are you even surprising yourself?
To be honest, man, like I'm finally patting ourselves on the back. I'm like, man, man, let me sit back and breathe, man. Like, hold up, bro. Ain't nobody doing this. Like we really out here, you know, acting or whatever, you know, like, let alone the wrestling, but like all that emotion, it's hard to have a camera in your face.
Yeah.
It's been a while since you had just a real solid storyline that went on with multiple characters, multiple people are in this storyline.
We're painting, like you said, like the word cinema is being thrown out there a lot, you know, on social media with it, but man, I dig it. And then, man, what's the homie who played Wolverine?
Hugh Jackman.
Man, I met him. He came to like a Raw one time. He's like, hold up. He goes, you guys get your script that day. I'm like, yeah. He goes, and then you cut it in front of a live audience. I'm like, yeah. In front of a live TV. I'm like, yeah. He goes, that is hard.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like, damn.
And I'm wondering, like with Sammy, initially, again, this speaks to just how good you are. Like I was always wondering if you, especially you guys, because like you don't maybe let us in, like you, like I don't even know if you like me right now. Like I think you might want to kill me right now, because that's the intensity that you have out of respect. But like, were you like, nah, like we have a family thing going on. We don't want this, you know, redheaded kid. Like, were you against it?
I was all against that, dude.
You were.
Yeah.
Why was that?
Because I was like, man, what him?
It's the bloodline. What are we doing here?
Really?
Like him? Like this the one we're gonna let in the circle, Luce.
Damn, it worked.
I was
man.
wrong, man.
Come on, man.
Yeah, he's low key funny, man. Very witty, very smart, man.
We knew Sammy. We was cool with Sammy way before this angle, though.
Right.
Way before, bro.
For sure.
But not to the point where he's like in the family.
I just imagine him walking out with us, and now like when he used to walk out with us, I'm like, man, it fits weirdly here.
Yeah.
You know, so.
It would always be fun to see, like there's that one famous clip where he's talking about going to the Waffle House afterwards with you guys, and it seems to me like you're having a hard time not laughing. Would that happen a lot?
Plenty of those.
Man.
Plenty of those.
Especially with him.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, man.
I got a trick. I can bite my.
Bro, there's all that breaking character area, man.
Yeah.
All that was real, and it's live, man. I almost started thinking, I'm like, you're unprofessional.
You're unprofessional.
Now,
I would say that to him.
I'm like, you need to tighten up, bro. Like,
we gotta be professional out there, you know.
Was there ever a point in your lives as kids where you thought of doing something other than being a pro wrestler?
Well, we never thought about wrestling as kids.
Really?
Yeah. We was told to stay away from it. We
By
was
who?
told, my dad, my parents.
Why?
Especially mom.
You know, they wanted us to do something better. They didn't want our bodies to take a toll, be on the road when you have families, you know. Back then, when my dad and them were doing it, you know, they were gone a lot more, you know. Then again, they didn't have, like, FaceTime. That's what my mom was worried about, you know, being away from your family, being time away from your loved ones, hurting your body, staying on the road, you know. But luckily, we get to do it together, man. We have family on the road, you know. That's one thing that our family did stress to us, man. At least y'all got to each other, you know. Try running up and down these roads 30 years alone.
Right.
You know, at least you guys got each other. Keep that in mind.
So what would you have done? Like, what did you initially?
Honestly?
Yeah.
Good.
Try the ball, man. You know, football, we was always in the sports. It was like,
Big time.
That was our thing. So, I mean, even in high school, us and Roman, we went to the same high school. You know, we played linebackers. We was running it, man.
Baseball together, football together, basketball together. You put a ball in the hand, we would do anything. We were good at it.
Guitar, piano,
Right.
man. We got
We're
it.
good at it.
So why didn't you go down that path?
What, football?
Yeah.
I mean, we went to college, you know, kind of messed around and didn't take school serious, kind of fell
Do your
out.
grades, kids. Man. Go to school, man.
Yeah, fell until the real life actually hit you and you're 21, 22. Now you got to get a job because your parents, you ain't no kid no more. You better either you're going to work or go to school, and right now you ain't in school. So you got to work. And that's what we did.
So when you go back and say, like, now I actually want to do this legit, like we want to actually go down this path, does your father Rikishi, the great, you know, legend, does he try to deter you one last time? Does he try to convince you not to go down this road?
As teenagers, it was that talk. Don't go down this road.
Well,
Well, once we got like
20s,
21,
he was all in.
then it was like,
This is when he put us on with Umaga. I remember that's my other late uncle. So,
and it was actually like, you gonna wrestle? You want y'all want to wrestle or you don't? But if you are going to, we're not gonna mess around. You're gonna be the best. You know, you're gonna do this. You're not gonna, you know,
play around.
be in his family and not be able to level up. So
I think the dope part was Umaga just did like the hair versus hair match, you know, a big WrestleMania with Trump.
Yeah.
And then he comes right here and, you know, like, hey, did y'all train today? Like, what'd y'all do today? You know, he was still helping us, you know, even though watching him do that and for Unc to, you know, make sure he still had hands on us, man. You know, I loved him for that because he made me like, yo, how can someone do that and then just come back to, you know, regular life and be a regular, like, let's go to the gym, you know, let me see what y'all doing, you know, what y'all do today, you know, still looking out, man. So try to keep that, I never would have thought we would be like the OGs in the locker room now. I look around, man, like.
We're starting to be it now.
Yeah.
For 13 years, we're starting to be it.
Yeah.
Austin Theory, when I first met him, I pleasure meeting you, but I remember watching you as a kid. I was like, how old are you? I said, how old are you? He's like, 23. I was like, decade? Yeah, were you 13? I was wrestling the Wyatts or something?
I'm just wondering what the sons of the guy who's doing the stink face and dancing in there and doing, like, are you aware as teenagers of what your dad is doing? Are you a fan? Are you watching it? Are your friends aware as well? Is it hard to hard? Because like, what do you make of that?
We were in high school once Keisha was at he was leveled. He was doing the stink face, the dancing.
Yeah.
So we was
How do
like
you feel about that?
sophomore, junior year, right?
Yeah, we were smart with it,
there.
but like as the damn kids around us, man, we would always be damn near boxing them.
Yeah, we were getting roasted.
Yeah.
Man, why your daddy come out there with that thong on, man?
Hey, we used to get heat. Well, one time, you know, when he ran over Stone Cold, when he with the car.
Oh, that's when it got bad.
Yeah, I mean,
Because they were mad.
People, man, your dad ran over Stone Cold, dude.
We used to be like, what? We didn't even know, because remember, we found out later on, right?
Yeah.
No, we did it. yeah, you suck. How about that? Yeah.
Did you guys go to a lot of the events? Like, would you go backstage and?
Oh, when we would go backstage, but no, because we always had school.
Oh, wow.
You know, practice, all that.
Yeah.
Did you even care? Like, did you care to go and meet the famous? Like, this is like the business is super hot at this point, right?
Yeah.
Late
And
90s.
at this point, man, it's like you get to that certain age, just like our kids. They're huge fans growing up. They see it, they love it, they're invested.
Like
Now, then all of a sudden they turn off like around like 10. They just because they've been around it,
Right.
they see it
So
every day, and they get completely away from it. Like the other day, I had a conversation like with my son, and he's like, he goes, "You guys still wrestling New Day?" I was like, "No."
He's unaware of what's going on right now?
Yeah, because he gets away, but last time he watched us was like New Day.
You're the hottest thing in the whole
Yeah, but
business.
We tell them, we let them know.
You can't tell them that, man. They're like, whatever.
Yeah,
you know.
we're lame. Our
Right.
kid,
Really?
Man, we cool.
Their friends aren't telling them your dad.
Their friends do.
Okay.
Their friends, yeah, but they just.
Never force it on them, though. Like,
Unimpressed.
watch me, you
Yeah.
know, like none of that. So
I say supports.
Right.
Like I support.
Will they watch tomorrow, Saturday?
I told my kid, hey, y'all, watch this match.
Yeah.
All right.
If they're not too busy, like hanging out with their friends, they'll turn it on.
Man, come on, man. Put the new Jordans on your shoes for
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. By the way, speaking of family, I'd be remiss if I don't ask you this question.
All right, that's first part of it. Let's scroll here and see if we get more of this conversation. This stuff is fascinating here. Ariel's fantastic with interviews, and I wanted this to be a longer audio version, so you get everything, the good side of it, because we'll hear that tomorrow night on SmackDown. Everybody's anticipating to hear what Jimmy Uso has to say towards Jay Wright, so we have to see what's going to come out of Jimmy's mouth, and everything you heard there, from growing up together, Umaga, win the tag titles together, everything that's gone on with Sammy, all those context clues that you just heard right there. I'm sure all of those will be addressed tomorrow on SmackDown. But let's continue on here. Let's see if we can see more about them fighting each other.
Now live up to his potential. What has that been like for you?
Even though if you're
WrestleMania 40 is somewhat around the corner. I know we just wrapped up 39, but what would be your ideal scenario? I'll start with you. Your ideal scenario for WrestleMania 40, considering where we are right now, you know, end of June, early July, thinking of how big that event could be next spring in Philadelphia. What was your ideal scenario?
Yeah. I mean, I want us all, the bloodline, to be back together, you know, main event, you know. But, man, Honestly, I don't know. I really don't. You know, I would like to. We lost the straps at Mania. I would like to get them back. You know, I mean, I feel like the titles don't look right on nobody but the Usos, to be honest. But
Doesn't look the same.
it don't, man. It don't feel the
It
same.
don't even feel the same.
Man,
You know.
my bags feel too light on that carry on. Like,
First couple of days after we dropped them, I kept like, yo, I forgot them. But then I was like, he was like, we don't have them. I was like, yeah, you right.
yeah, you lost them. Wait, I lost them. Yeah,
That's trash.
Okay, so you're gonna kind of sit on the fence here for us.
Yeah, man.
You're okay. TBD.
Yeah, TBD.
I'm honestly the same, man. I can't like even think about like you said, like I'm not even thinking about Mania or April. You know, it's so embedded right now to think about Money in the Bank, and then maybe after with SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Like that's as far as like I'm going, because everything changes here. You know, everything changes. In my mind, if I had to pick, of course it'll be the Usos definitely on WrestleMania, some kind of tag. It don't matter, ladder, it don't even matter.
I would like to reinvent that triple threat ladder match, though. Because they was talking about the Dudleys, Hardys, Edge, and Christian.
Yeah.
Like, it need to be Usos. If I could pick, New Day, definitely, and let's see, making noise now.
Maybe the champs.
For sure.
Kevin and Sammy.
Yeah. Well, I can't say this enough, and I think
All right, there you go. This little glimpse of that great conversation with Jimmy and Jey Uso with Ariel Helwani. Make sure you go check out that video. Here we go. This is how I personally can go to having Jimmy and Jey fight each other at WrestleMania. You just heard a lot of context clues right there. And I think the main thing that was addressed right there is that, especially what Jay said, that they're living in the moment right now. I know a lot of us like to fancy book and try to look where things are going to go from this moment to WrestleMania, et cetera, et cetera. But you heard it from Jay. They're living in the moment right now. I'm living in the moment right now, just how I carry myself in my personal life. So the same thing applies here with this wrestling stuff. I take this stuff 1 week at a time. We all could agree or disagree with the stuff that we see and stuff we like or dislike on the show. But at the end of the day, you got to live in the moment. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. Speaking tomorrow, we'll hear what Jimmy has to say. And everybody's like, this doesn't make sense. This is going to go wrong direction. The Bloodlines jumped the shark. If one thing I'm not going to bet against in this world of professional wrestling, it's the Bloodline and especially Paul Heyman. So, Roman will be on the show tomorrow. Jimmy will be on the show tomorrow. There's reports out there that Roman got injured at the SummerSlam match. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. There's scuttlebutt from that WrestleVotes dude. I'm very indifferent towards him. But anyways, he's saying that one person behind the scenes is hesitant to have this be stretched out to WrestleMania 40 because that's 35 weeks from now. How do we get there? How can you have brother and brother at WrestleMania 40? Well, there's a couple things that we need to put in consideration here and where things are right now on SmackDown. Can Jimmy and Jey fight each other at Payback? Absolutely. Do I think they'll fight each other at Payback? No. We're in the long game here. That part of Paul Heyman saying that we're in the bottom of the third inning, in that aspect, in that context, I do agree. We're in the long game still here with the Bloodline. There's still a lot of things that could be twists and turns. Who knows? Maybe Solo attacks Roman tomorrow. Who knows, right? Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what Jimmy is going to say, right? Maybe Jey fights Jimmy at Payback. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe Jey fights Solo at Payback. Like, Jimmy will put Jey through hoops and all this stuff to have the match with him. There's a lot of things that I think should be put in consideration to making this work. I think, obviously, Rikishi should definitely be on one of these shows sooner or later. It doesn't have to be tomorrow, but sometime soon I think Rikishi should be involved in this angle. Whether he's interacting with Roman or not, I don't care. But with all the brothers now feuding with each other, I think now more than ever, Rikishi should be involved in this. And there's other questions that we need to be answered. Is Jimmy still on the side of Roman Reigns? Did he do it for the tribal chief, or did he do it for himself? How is Solo going to carry himself? Because even before all that stuff went down with Jimmy and Jay, you remember when Jay speared Roman through the barricade, Solo was getting pissed because Roman speared him during the match. And they've been having a lot of tension, even heading into that tribal combat match. What will Paul Heyman say? What's on the mind of the tribal chief? I know the scuttlebutt right now is that, oh, this is just a delay. Stretch it out where it doesn't need to stretch out. All the stuff with the bloodline does not need the title to be attached to it. I disagree with it, because how are you going to call yourself the head of the table when you don't have the prize to showcase that? The island of relevancy is the main championship. The title that Roman Reigns holds is the main title, the main prize in the company. Whether you like the guy or not, that's just an undisputed fact, pun intended. So there's a lot of different things we need to put in consideration here. So there's a lot of different things that I've been thinking about this a lot since Saturday, and it goes down like this for me. You want to get Jimmy versus Jay at WrestleMania? Fine by me. And I think that's a match that deserves to be in Hell in a Cell. So that's the first, that's the exit point. That's the conclusion there. But I think Jay will fight Solo at Payback. I put a tweet out earlier this week saying that an injury ankle would be coming soon, or more paraphrasing, I'd be saying that I wouldn't be surprised if Jay would be under an injury ankle. You want to stretch this out to WrestleMania? You could pull it off. Now, let's not forget the Judgment Day and Edge and the Mysterios went from SummerSlam all the way to WrestleMania. And we had twists and turns. We saw the moment at Extreme Rules last year where the Judgment Day sent Beth Phoenix to the upper room. Rhea gave Beth the concerto, right? And they ripped not only her off TV, but Edge off of TV for a while. Excuse me. There's ways to work around this. And I have the idea. So this is how I go with it. I think Jay will fight Solo at Payback. Can he fight Jimmy at the show too? Maybe. One way or another, that match will happen. However, I believe there will be an injury angle for Jay that writes him off of TV for the entire rest of the year. I believe that. Now, where does that lie with the other members of the Bloodline and all that stuff with Roman Reigns? I think that still remains to be seen. But also, there's also something brewing in SmackDown right now that could get the attention of the Tribal Chief. And this is how I go about it. So, I say for me, you take Jay out, you stretch him out, you have this big injury angle. Like, go all out with it. He does not come back until the Royal Rumble. That's how I had Jay and Jimmy start their journey towards WrestleMania 40. From there, in the between time, as we get closer to the Rumble, there's this new group that's forming with Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. Whether it's called the Hurt Business or not, I don't know. But there is money to be made there with the Hurt Business 2.0 and the Bloodline. And believe it or not, I think Roman and Bobby could have a very, very good premium live event world title match. I think it'd be a hot angle. I think people will be interested in it. It's a different force coming at them, kind of compared to like how it was with the Brawling Brutes last year as we got closer to War Games. I have the Hurt Business going after Roman, Jimmy, and Solo. So if we're running with the basis that Jimmy is attached himself still with the bloodline, then okay, there you go. You have your trios. You have Solo, Jimmy, and Roman against Bobby and the Street Profits for a while. And then that could push it to Roman and Bobby for the title. I think Bobby Lashley, out of anybody on that SmackDown roster right now, would probably be the most viable guy to fight him for his for him to be the next challenger for that title. Unless you want to run it back with AJ Styles, I wouldn't have a problem with that too. Also, you could start hitting up the OC again. Maybe they have a feud with the Bloodline. I wouldn't be opposed to that either. But, you know, I don't think it's going to be this 3-month thing with Jimmy and Jay. I think there is a potential, just with everything that's gone on with Jimmy, that's gone on with Jay from an emotional and psychological standpoint and physical standpoint as well. I could see a scenario where there's an injury angle where you take him out and he comes back at the Royal Rumble. Don't tell me that you cannot stretch out Jimmy and Jay all the way out to WrestleMania 40. I saw it happen not only with Edge and Finn Balor, but I also saw it happen with Dominic and Rey Mysterio. It could work. I trust Triple H to pull this off, and I think it could work out. So right now, I just give you my fantasy booking idea, but at the same time, I'm just going to be sitting back and watching this play out. A lot of you all can say that this whole thing doesn't make sense because you didn't like the decision of how that match ended. But let's be honest, did any of you really think that Jay was going to defeat Roman at SummerSlam? Let's be honest with ourselves, okay? For me, that's how I would go to get to Jimmy and Jay at WrestleMania 40. That's just how I would do it. But in the meantime, I'm going to watch back and... Before you know it, people will be marking out again for Bloodline segments on TV. So, again, did they jump the shark? I disagree with that. But let's move on. Last thing I wanted to mention here for this week in WWE, some stuff from Raw, and then we get closer to Payback. I thought Raw this week was fantastic. The crowd in Minnesota was fantastic. Shout out to my guy, Andrew Baydal, who was at the show. That crowd at the Target Center was phenomenal. It was a great show. The 4-way with Ricochet, Gable, Riddle, and I forgot who else was in the match, but that 4-way was fantastic for becoming the #1 contender. We find out that Gable will get another shot at the IC title. I think that's great. I think him and Gunther can have a fantastic match on the preview live event at Payback. So I think that's the route they should go. And Payback is not that far away from here. It's in Pittsburgh, and I think that's a good match to have on that show. So I'm all in with that. And by the way, shout out to Ludwig, guys. What a gentleman, man. What a great character, man. He's so old school. He's the man. I love Ludwig Kaiser. LA Knight and The Miz this week was fantastic. And I also agree with what Bully Ray said on Busted Open this week. I think that The Miz outshined LA Knight on the microphone. And we're going to have to see how much that LA Knight taps into other aspects of his character that's not so dependent on the Rock and Stone Cold mannerisms. And that's going to be the challenge, because that's honestly my critique on the guy. I enjoy his work for many years. I've seen him on Impact. I've seen him in NWA Power. I enjoy his journey. I think he's a good wrestler as well. But I need to see more too. And LA Knight and The Miz is a good feud to have. No, it's not a downgrade to have a program with The Miz. The Miz is a first ballot Hall of Famer in WWE. And I think LA Knight will benefit a lot from a program with The Miz. So I'm all for it. I thought that promo exchange that they had on Monday was fantastic. Speaking of good calls, the massive brawl that they had before the main event with Rhea, Raquel Rodriguez, Indy Hartwell, and Candice LeRae, fantastic. I really enjoyed it. It gives a couple things into the mind of the fans. One, that you know that Candice LeRae and Indy will not be treated as afterthoughts. Two, you could have two potential matches on TV before you could get to Rhea and Raquel at Payback, and you could do that. You could have Rhea against Candice LeRae on Raw either this week or next week, or maybe you have Raquel against Indy Hartwell. You know, you could start having that, and then I think Rhea and Raquel will have their match at Payback, and having these type of brawls and stuff like that, and you know, people are not scared of mommy and all that. I think you have some, you could get a lot of people invested into that women's world title match. I really do. And then what we saw with the main event with Shinsuke Nakamura turning on Seth Rollins, looking as him as the next challenger for the World Heavyweight Championship. I have no issue with that as well. I think that's going to be fantastic. And now here's the thing. Will Seth Rollins get his chance to main event Payback? We'll have to see how this plays out with the whole bloodline stuff. But also, will it be just Seth and Nakamura? Will it be a triple threat with Cody Rhodes? What will happen? That's the question. You have a lot of different scenarios. I can see a scenario maybe where Cody fights Finn Balor or something like that, or Cody fights Damian Priest. I don't know if he'll fight Dominic at the show, but when it comes to Nakamura and Seth Rollins, sign me up. I love their match from Survivor Series a few years ago. I thought their match was fantastic, and this match, whenever they have it, should be no different. So I'm all in for Nakamura and Seth Rollins. The stuff with Judgment Day and JD McDonough backstage was very good as well. Raw was a fantastic show this past Monday. It's definitely one of the best Raws I've seen this entire year. So I just want to get some props to Raw because, I get it's a 3-hour show every week. But you can tell the difference with Michael Cole and Wade Barrett on this show. And I thought they brought the energy, and I thought it was a good show. So, all in all, some good stuff there. All right. Before we get to our main event, it's time for our Week 4 report for the New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Climax 33 tournament. It's supposed to say the punctual climax. So, we found out who are the winners of the blocks here in the G1. Let me pull this up on the screen here. A little screen share here. This is one of the aspects I love about StreamYard here. So here we are. We have the unofficial winners from the blocks. For the A block was represented by Sonata and Hikuleo. The B block is represented by Okada and Will Ospreay. The C block was represented by David Finlay and Evil. And the D block was represented by Tetsuya Naito and Zack Sabre Jr. There's a couple things I wanted to mention. This report's not going to be very long because we do have to get to the main event. I don't want to keep you guys here too long. But today was the quarterfinal show. And this weekend will be the semifinals and the finals. So there's 2 more G1 Climax shows for me to cover. And 2 more shows for me to cover in general before I take my hiatus from making transcripts and stuff. And this tour has been fantastic. I thought today's show was awesome. I will say this, though. The House of Torture sucks. I don't care. This whole stuff with Evil calling himself Mr. G1 and the bullshit that went on in that Shingo Takagi match the other day was just nonsense and embarrassing, to be honest with you. It's a shame that Shingo did not advance to the next stage. But not only that, Evil defeated Sonata today. So it's just a bad look in a lot of ways for New Japan because it's just like you have an act for a guy who I think is a very good wrestler and does a great job and can talk crap and all that stuff. But this group sucks. Dick Togo sucks. Yujiro Takahashi sucks. Show is misplaced in the wrong group. It's just not good. Just the formula of those matches and just the constant beating down of the referees. And it's just like, I see enough of that shit in AEW. Like, why are we doing that now? It's the G1. And, oh, we need evil. We need evil in the Final Four. I just think that it's ridiculous. So, we had the quarterfinals today. Evil defeated Sonata. Naito defeated Hikuleo, which I thought was a very good match. I think the best match for today's show was Will Ospreay and David Finlay. That match was fantastic. And then Okada had a very good and physical back and forth match with Zack Sabre Jr. Speaking of Zack, I thought his match with Hiroki Goto yesterday, as I'm recording this, was very good as well. So right now, as we speak, the semifinals goes as follows. On Saturday, it'll be Okada taking on Evil. It'll be Tetsuya Naito against Will Ospreay in a rematch of last year's semifinals of the G1. And that match should be fantastic. And not only the issue of the stuff with Evil, but you guys made it so predictable for Okada to make it to the finals again. Like, it's a cakewalk for him to go into the finals. Okada beating Evil is more obvious than Roman Reigns beating Jey Uso at SummerSlam. So, I think the Final Four would be cool. Coming up on Sunday, I do believe one way or another, either Naito or Will Ospreay will win the G1. I do not believe Okada will have a three-peat. So, it's either going to be Naito or Ospreay who wins the G1 this year. And we'll see how that one plays out. But nonetheless, that concludes our report here for New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Climax 33 Week 4 report. I appreciate all of you who have took the time to check out the articles. It's meant a lot to me. And I appreciate all of you who have supported ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com for all these years. It really has meant a lot to me. So thanks to each and every single one of you. All right, folks, it's time for the main event. It's scheduled for one fall with an unlimited time limit. And if you're easily offended, that's a you problem, not a me problem. It's time, what everybody needs, what they want, what they salivate for. Like waterfall. You just can't have enough of it, right? Well, that's what comes with the restaurant quality edition of What the Hell is Wrong with AEW. Let's start this bad boy off in a 3, a 2, a 1.
Your meat, beat 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 your meat. I'm telling you, my time is right now. Right this minute, 2022. We're living it. My time is now. My time is right. God damn now.
Man, what intensity.
The quality of the product and the quality of the shows is at an all-time high right now. But I do know that it's a real war between AEW and WWE.
I'm still cashing fat checks, and I am still banging the hottest bitch in this entire place.
It's time for What the Hell is Wrong with AEW?
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
All right, folks, time for another edition of What the Hell is Wrong with AEW. I'm going to pose the question that I've been asked the last couple weeks as we get closer to these two extravaganzas, All In and All Out. The two pay-per-view variety that we get at the end of August and on Labor Day weekend at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. we've had a couple of matches announced for the events. We found out that it'll be FTR against the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. I have no issue with that. I hope the right team wins this time, but having that show at Wembley Stadium, I think it's the right call for them to have that match at that show. And we also found out last night on Dynamite that it'll be Sting and Darby Allin against Swerve Strickland and AR Fox in a coffin match. So that's the other match that was announced. Obviously, we know it'll be NJF and Adam Cole in the main event for the AEW World Championship. But my question this week is the one I've been asking a lot over the last couple of weeks. It's just maybe how I feel. Do you feel like you're getting more bang for your buck with these shows? Like, are you more excited now for All In as you were when they announced the event? Are you more excited and enticed to pay for both of these pay-per-views? I don't know if it's just me, but it's just any other AEW show. Like, I liked some stuff here and there with Adam Cole and MJF, but I kind of wish that we'd just get back to business and have some serious shit on the show. And I think that a lot of the stuff, the comedy stuff with Adam Cole and all this stuff, has been hindering MJF's title reign. And now we have this stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, the MJF is still great on the microphone, and the stuff that he was joking around saying that if Adam Cole is a line of coke in the 80s that Hogan was snorted it, I thought that was funny and all. And you know, him ripping Roderick Strong and saying that he's in his emo Taylor Swift phase, which, by the way, on a side note, sidebar please, brought to you by Aiken Law. I'm a fan of Taylor Swift. I'm not gonna run away from it. I'm not gonna call myself a Swiftie. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I am a big fan of Taylor Swift now. And have you seen the new photo for this new 1989 remake album that she's making? Holy moly, you want to talk about waterfall? My waterfall this week is Taylor Swift. That picture alone is probably one of the hottest pictures I've ever seen in my life. Seriously, that woman is beautiful. Wow, man. I love playing her music. I know some people are hit and miss with her, but I'm a fan of hers. She's very talented. And for her to pull off those 3.5 hour shows every day on that Eras tour is pretty impressive. But anyways, I'm going to bring it back to wrestling because there was a Taylor Swift reference. He told Roderick Strong to shake it off. Now we don't know whether Adam Cole and Roderick Strong are friends. We have the Kingdom lurking around, which begs the question, is Adam Cole going to turn on MJF? How are we going to get to the turn till we have some seriousness between these two guys? And I really think that what happened last night on Dynamite really showcased how murky Tony Khan is. Because we know the match is announced, but we got to dangle this carrot of the idea of them still being a tag team. And then Adam Cole goes on this soliloquy about how important it would be for him to become the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champion. And even throwing out the idea of seeing Adam Cole and MJF against Aussie Open on the 0 hour of All In, I just think it's fucking stupid. I'm sorry. It just is. It's not going to entice me more to see MJF and Adam Cole when I already know that's the main event, just to wait to see the predictable outcome of them turning on each other when they do not win the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. So what I don't get that. Why we need to go through these murky cylinders and filters and just hoops just to get to the match? Who gives a shit that Adam Cole wants to be the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champion? Do you want to be the world champion or not? I don't get that, man. That was a big detour for me last night because I was enjoying the segment and all that. But, like, can we get back to some serious business here? them against Aussie Open? Come on, man. Come on, that's stupid. It's unnecessary. Now you even put them in position of those 4 guys who just recently got themselves. Now you gotta expect them to go against crowd favorites on a fucking pre-show? Really? What are we doing here? Let's add some positivity here so I balance it out here for this segment. CM Punk and Ricky Starks, I thought was a very good match from Greenville, South Carolina this past Saturday on Collision. I thought it was a very good match. I want to give a shout out to those guys. Also shout out to FTR and Big Bill and Brian Cage. I enjoyed their tag match. Collision always delivers goods. I like Collision. I think it's a fun show. So I enjoy what I see so far from it. But there's been other things that have been announced. Samoa Joe mentioned that, hey, possibly that, Samoa Joe would fight CM Punk for the Real World Championship. A lot of people are still upset or clamoring for CM Punk to fight Kenny Olivier at All In. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. Me personally, I don't think the match is going to live up to what people are making it out to be. Yes, I get it. They had a fight backstage, but I don't know. Some people are making this out like CM Punk and Kenny Omega on All In would be up there with Stone Cold and The Rock at WrestleMania 17. I'm like, put the pipe down a little bit, okay? Speaking of putting the pipe down, I guess Sony Khan finally comes to his senses and realized that we're done with the January 6th appreciators. Why that was the opening segment of the show, I have no idea. It went way too fucking long. No, I have no sympathy for Daniel Garcia. I have no sympathy for 2.0. I do not care whether or not Jake Hager is on my TV screen or not. Congratulations to Ty Mello. She's pregnant, so congrats to her and Sammy. But did anybody care about the fact that the JES is separating? Did anybody give 2 shits? Oh, we don't appreciate Chris Jericho anymore. And now we have to sit back and wait for Chris Jericho and Don Callis to work together. Oh my God, I'm on pins and needles. I'm on cloud 9 for those guys to work with each other. Like, come on, man. I don't want to see that shit. I don't care that Jericho and Callis were butt buddies in the 90s. I really, really do not care. I talked about RVD earlier. I thought the match him and Jack Perry was pretty good, but also kind of exposed again how mid Jack Perry is overall. Theme song, entrance, generic in-ring style, etc. I just think Jack Perry's mid, so that was what it was. We had the Young Bucks defeating the Hardys. I thought the match was pretty solid. No complaints there. I thought it was decent, so there's some positivity there. And then we just get to this downward slope that we get to every single week with Dynamite, where we got Officer Barb Brady, we got Renee Young and her sexy ass, so that's a plus. And then we get we had 2 major mistakes on this show. One, why is anybody allowing Wheeler Useless to talk into a microphone? These Blackpool Cuckold Club backstage promos suck. All of them. Moxley, Claudio, what? Yuta, what? Karen Danielson, what? All of them are ass. All these promos suck. Every single one of them suck. I don't take the Blackpool Cuckold Club seriously. They had a long match with the Lucha Brothers. Oh, shocker. We had shenanigans, and we need Blind Shoe Edwards, Ray Charles Edwards, to grace us with her presence. And then all this led up to Pentagon, I guess, losing his mask or whatever. And the Blackpool Cuckold Club won, and that was what it was. Whoopity-doo. I did not care for it. I didn't give 2 shits about it, to be honest with you. And then we had the main event, which was Hikaru Shida retained against Anna Jay. Match didn't mean much. The match was rushed. It was just there to be there, I guess. So I don't know. I just wasn't feeling Dynamite last night. I try to go into each episode of Dynamite with an open mind, but when you get Moxley, who's just basically AEW's version of evil, and if that bothers you, cool, be offended. I like that slogan for my mentor Jonathan Hood, be offended. That's not my problem. I call it straight as fade, man. Jon Moxley is the evil from New Japan in AEW. And the Blackpool Cuckold Club is the House of Torture of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, all in all, Dynamite, another mid-episode as we get closer to All In. See what happens tomorrow night. Not tomorrow night, on Collision. Collision is on Saturday. But we got these two pay-per-views coming up at the end of the month. And I just don't care. Like, I'm sure the matches would be cool. I think Adam Cole and MJF would be good if it's just a standalone world title main event. I have no issues with that. But why are we dangling a carrot of them potentially fighting the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions on the pre-show? I don't get it. I don't. And then FTR and the Young Bucks, I have no issues with that too. I think that'd be cool. We found out that Kenny Olivier will be having a sit-down interview next week on Dynamite with good old JR. Oh, Kenny, my boy, what's on your mind? So I guess we should get into the excrement impressions, shall we? All right. Coming to you live on Rampage on TNT tomorrow night is the AEW International Championship match. It features the champion Orange Cassidy taking on Johnny TV of QTV. Next, we have a match for the qualifier for the Women's Fatal 4-Way match at All In. It's Saraya against Sky Blue. Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions Aussie Open will be in action. And our main event for the singles match feature attraction is Darby Allin taking on the Mogul Embassy's The Machine, Brian Cage. Then we get to Saturday night on Collision. We have CM FTR taking on the House of Black for the AEW World Trios Championships. From there, we have a tag team match, which features Willow Nightingale and TBS champion Chris Statlander taking on the team of Mercedes Martinez and Diamante. And Anthony Bowens and Max Caster, the Acclaim, will turn in-ring action. Don't forget to get all your tickets right now at AEWTIX.com. That's AEWTIX.com. And on that note, we pose a question we pose a question to all of you. AEW messes with my brain cells and I get tongue-tied sometimes. But anyways, we posed the question, what in the hell is wrong with AEW?
This has been What the Hell is Wrong with AEW.
Everything.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Nope.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
All right. We finally made it to our conclusions for this week's episode of the Hoots podcast. I appreciate you guys all hanging out with me today. Before we head out, as we do, tradition here on the podcast at Hoots, it's time to crown a new winner for the CLAHN of the Week right here on the Hoots podcast.
I'm not CLAHN. Constant CLAHN. You're big on CLAHN.
One more time.
I'm not CLAHN. Constant CLAHN. You're big on CLAHN.
My Chicago White Sox are the CLAHN of the Week. They are a national embarrassment. They are a civic embarrassment. They are the pimple on the ass of Chicago sports. They are the antithesis of what's wrong with the city's sports teams. They are a dumpster fire. They are a tire fire. They are all fires. Not even good fires. Just all bad fires you can imagine. That is the White Sox. It's an embarrassment to be a White Sox fan. It's an embarrassment for me to wear this t-shirt tonight. I do not know what's going on with this team. I don't know why we're still in this cesspool. I don't know why Kenny Williams gets every excuse known to man to be a general manager when he spent even the year they won the World Series in 2005. I don't know why Jerry Reinsdorf hates Chicago sports fans. I don't know why our team is so insufferable to watch. I don't know why we have to sit through this nonsense every single season. I am so sick and tired of the minutia and the nonsense that we have to sit through every year with the White Sox, whether they want to be a big team, big league team or not, a big market team. I also say whether they want to bring in big free agents, whether they want to spend or not, whether they have locker room issues or not, or the fact that fucking Tim Anderson gets knocked out in Cleveland. Cleveland! I don't know what's worse. Being in Cleveland, Ohio, or getting knocked out in Cleveland, Ohio. Embarrassing is not even the word to express my frustration with the White Sox. That's a podcast in itself on how inept this organization is. It's a civic embarrassment. Jerry Reinsdorf, I can't even say he needs to go. He's the owner. We're stuck. I can say to sell the team till I'm blue to the face. We know that's not happening. But when are we ever going to get some accountability? It took you forever to get rid of Gar Forman and John Paxson. But go, Kenny Williams is Kenny Williams is freaking Teflon. Teflon Williams. Teflon Ken. Again, my White Sox are the clown of the week.
I'm not clown. You're big clown.
On that note, we're going to put a ribbon on the bow on this week's episode of the Hoots Podcast. As always, if you want to enjoy the show, make sure to like this video, subscribe on our YouTube channel as we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Make sure to follow us on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/the Hoots Podcast. The Hoots Podcast comes to you free of charge anywhere you get your podcast from. Google Play, what? Spotify, what? Apple Podcasts, what? Also on the Odyssey app I just saw this week. I found that out the other day. I thought that's pretty cool. Around there, why? Type in the Hoots Podcast on iHeartRadio. We're on there as well. So you can stream our old episodes on the iHeartRadio app and the Odyssey app as well. So very cool to see those big platforms sharing our show. I wish we had some money in return, but that's neither here nor there. But I appreciate the support, everybody. Make sure to check out my final G1 articles on ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com this weekend. And we'll be here next week to have some more fun and shenanigans as the road to episode 400 continues. I appreciate the support, everybody. Remember, folks, be the authentic product that is yourself. And remember, nobody dictates the pace of your life but yourself and the man upstairs. I'd love to know what you guys' thoughts about SummerSlam. Let me know in the comment section down below or hit me up at Twitter at the Hoots Podcast. If you have any thoughts, critiques, any suggestions that you'd like to hear or watch here on the podcast at Hoots, just let me know, and I'll put it into consideration. And we appreciate the support, everybody. And it's been a lot of fun, and I'm very grateful to have this platform to interact and hang out with you guys every week. I love you, y'all. This has been episode 373 of the Hoots Podcast. We'll talk to y'all next week. Yes, sir.